I don't know why, but I'm getting the feeling that I'm about to be pressured into a just say no type situation at the age of 15 behind a Linkin Park concert by a ticket scalper. This is such a specific vibe. I don't know why I'm on it right now. Oh god, it's even worse in motion.
I want you to imagine having nothing to contribute to the internet
So you want me to imagine being you?
whatsoever. Like,
Oh, dude, and you wonder why your face, without all the filters and lighting, looks like the Crypt Keeper's ass. Don't take your hair grease and wipe it all over your face, and don't take 397 showers a day, where most of your time in the shower is apparently spent being the original Coomer by jerking off to the memory of your exes, and you'll have a much better complexion. I can almost smell the musty, sour milk scented BO through my screen.
everything you do is boring, uninteresting. Nobody wants to watch it.
This? From Onision? Thank you, Mr. Chris Hansen, for that legendary moment I will never be able to forget so long as I live.
I want you to think about like this reality that you're not musically capable. You're not capable of making funny gaming videos. You're not capable of making funny videos that anyone would ever watch. Like no matter what you do, you get like no views.
I nor anyone else can ever definitively know whether or not that statement was targeted specifically at me, but I would be dishonest with everyone if I were to say that didn't feel a little pointed. I'll answer that in a general sense before going to the personal. You've been creating music for over a decade that's amounted to the exact same song over and over and over again because you understand nothing about musical composition, music theory. Your production value is in the toilet because you don't seek to actually understand how to improve what it is that you create. Your egomaniacal narcissism has you putting this drivel you excrete to the masses on the same pedestal as artists like Nine Inch Nails and Daft Punk. That is arrogance that I didn't think human beings could actually achieve outside of fiction. You've been taken to task by many YouTubers who are established and accomplished musicians of high levels of talent, such as Jared Dines, for the same argument I've just made. You've made the same song over and over and over again with little to no production value, yet want to be taken seriously as an accomplished, talented, professional artist. That is a massive disconnect from reality. Answering this now in the personal, I've been producing music for 15 years, and sure, my production values and understanding of how to make good music may not be on the same level as somebody like Devin Townsend or Steve Vai or any of the other artists that I personally like, and I'm okay with that. As with anything, there's a learning curve attached to it, and some people are in a better position than others to accelerate upward in that learning curve. For others, it takes them longer. I'm not going to take shit from somebody who doesn't seek to improve anything that they do. Seriously, in any regard. I'm okay with not being 100% at the top of my game, even though I've been doing this as long as I have. But I'm certainly a hell of a lot better than I was when I started. There's at least a track record of improvement. With you, it's the same thing over and over and over again. Because you either don't want to improve, or you're incapable of understanding how to improve. Simply buying expensive musical equipment and then never understanding how to better utilize it for your compositions does not make you a good musician. It just means that you're blowing your money on expensive shit like a $5,000 electric piano and a $500 electronic drum set that you don't use for anything you make, or probably will now only because you're being called out for it and you need to prove it wasn't just a wasted impulse purchase like probably most items in your household.
Uh, so that sucks, right? It sucks that you can't make a single viral video, and you never have made a viral video, and you never will make a viral video.
Is making a viral video supposed to be the be all end all reason why somebody wants to have a presence on social media? Because reality is, it's not. Yes, there are many people out there who want to do stuff like that. And that's fine if they want to do that. I don't want to do that. Many other people out there that make content either against you or against other people like you don't want to do that. And the phenomena of viral videos is an enigma, an anomaly into itself, which is why it's so interesting. It's the epitome of needle in a haystack, a once in a million opportunity for something benign to blow up, which does, and then for whatever reason captivates the attention of a lot of people. In your particular case, the example is the Banana Song video. A needle in a haystack situation occurred when Daniel Tosh decides to feature it on his shitty, unfunny show. And it gets viewed to a wider audience than it could have ever reached on YouTube alone. You had, in a sense, really nothing to do with that other than creating the video and it winning the lottery in that sense. I personally don't want to make content like that, and I don't have to make content like that, and I'm not going to be discontent with not making content like that because I feel that that content is really just about materialistic objectivity, and people that are obsessed with that really, at the end of the day, are truly obsessed with the idea of how popular they're perceived by other people. That what other people think of them is the height of their self-opinion, which I find pathetic and hollow. But it does help to explain the motivations behind people like yourself, in my opinion.
And you never will do anything that is even remotely fun or interesting.
Being known as an online child groomer does not sound very fun or interesting to me.
And the only option you have is to...
Jesus Christ, this video is going to be 50% rambling and 50% him caking his face in as much hair oil as possible. If we wrung your pores out, I'm sure that right then and there we could solve the fossil fuel crisis on this planet. I swear. You are like a living renewable energy source and you don't even know it.
Find somebody that other people actually care about, like other people find interesting.
I won't take it away from you that people find you interesting, but I would like to add that it's not for any good reasons at this point.
Other people search a lot or whatever.
People are searching you en masse, yes, because you're being exposed by Chris Hansen from To Catch a Predator as being a pederastic child groomer. That's not the kind of notoriety you want.
And just say something about them. Not good or bad, but just say something.
What?
I want you to imagine that the only thing you have going for you is talking about other people.
Are you trying to tell your critics that because you believe the whole of their being is the content they make online, they should accept that that really is the whole of their being? Like there's nothing else that goes on in their existence besides vlogging, besides video responding? What a disconnected way to look at people.
If you're in a career field like you are...
This isn't a career. Making videos is not a career. Maybe it is for you, because like many other YouTubers from your era, you were stupid and put all your eggs in one basket. But there were other people out there on this planet, outside of Gregory Land, that weren't idiots and knew how to diversify their interests, actually build a decent living for themselves.
Paparazzi, where like literally the only point of your life is to take pictures of people that people actually want to see. They don't want to see you.
Greg, am I standing outside your house, or is anybody else with a camera? Like one of these tabloid nutcases from like Star magazine or whatever those fucking junk fucking reads you see in the checkout line at the supermarket here in this country are doing? No, I'm not working for the National Enquirer. I make video responses to you because I find you to be a fucking idiot, easy to respond to, and you need to be called out for your disgusting behavior and vile treatment of other people. You are an emotionally disconnected weirdo. You don't care that your traumatic treatment of them fucks them up for long periods of time in their life. And you try to use your presence that you once commanded a lot of authority over on YouTube as a weapon against these people. Tabloids just want to say, oh, look what these celebrities are doing, yada, 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 divorce drama, all that shit. You know, that's what websites like LolCow and shit are about. That's not what I'm about, and that's what many other video makers out there on this website are not about either.
If you're paparazzi, they don't care about you. You're just a cameraman. Why don't you imagine being a tabloid writer?
Well, who the fuck would watch a video that's not featuring anything about the person that's making the video? You know, there are people that did that amongst this drama, like Don't Stand So Close to Me and such. And if people want to watch content like that, they're more than welcome to, but not everybody does. Some people want to watch content that's in the format that I'm doing it here because maybe that type of informational intake is easier for them. I don't know.
Where nobody actually cares about you as a person. They just want to see you talk smack or otherwise talk about other people.
Isn't that why people follow your Twitter? Isn't that why they watch content from you? If they're a brain dead idiot who wants to watch nothing other than a person with a massive, massive ego put himself on a pedestal above every other member of humanity.
Like you are irrelevant to them. They only want to know about the glamorous, the people that had all the right genetics.
Well, clearly they're not watching your content for that.
Where their eyes just aren't too far apart.
Yours aren't even in the same area code, nor can they close in the same exact time. When you blink, one closes before the other.
Their lips are the perfect amount of plushiness.
What? If your lips are made of plush, then maybe you should stop being a stuffed animal.
People want to hear about those individuals.
Okay. Is there a point that you're coming to here?
You can't really feel too upset about these people when they get obsessive. Like if a paparazzi person.
Well, if that's the case, then why the fuck are you making this video? Because the only rationale you have to make a video about this general subject, especially being submerged in the insanity that you're submerged in right now, is because you're getting upset about the attention you're receiving. What a deflection.
Constantly stalks J-Lo or a Kardashian.
Do you really think that a Z-lister like yourself is on the same level as the Kardashians, really? Or Jennifer Lopez? And by God, as a new metal fan, I'd say I'd like to think I'm pretty heavily stuck in the early 2000s because that's when a lot of that music was popular. But you're more so stuck in there than I am if J-Lo is still at the top of the celebrity fucking tier list for you. I mean, I'm not saying that she's untalented. She certainly is, but I mean, is that really what the kids are listening to now? Probably the newest music he'll find is going to be Iggy Azalea or like Metro Station or some shit.
It's their job. They could have chose any profession. They could have been a school teacher or whatever.
Let's hope to God you never get that job. And hopefully if the FBI likes to, expedite these sort of things at any point, you're more than welcome to do that. You won't ever have to worry about it because you'll be in jail.
If they're capable. But they chose to be a paparazzi because maybe they just have that in them to harass people. Do
you know how much money some of these tabloid fucking mags pay people to get fucking pictures of celebrities? That's why some of these idiots do it. For even a shitty, like, shaky cam, like, Blair Witch style photo of a fucking celebrity having a meltdown somewhere, they'll pay you like fucking tons and tons of cash. I can't imagine how much money the guy who took those unfortunate pictures of Britney Spears with her shaved head having a mental breakdown got. Yeah, it's disgusting. People are making money for exploitation. But at the same time, it's not really so much about the harassment. It's more just they want to make money. And if they have to use harassing journalistic tactics in order to do so, they're going to do it. Way to understand absolutely nothing about your own industry.
They're a little sadistic. Maybe they enjoy it a little bit. But even that is beyond their control.
Oh, okay. So, like the kind of people that make videos over and over and over and over again about how their exes to you have like smelly pussies and shit. Oh, yeah, nice. The kind of person that has to be up somebody with a medical condition's ass constantly that they can't control to the point that you become a contributing factor for the progression of that medical condition that's putting their health in jeopardy. Simply because it's making you views. In a way, Gregory, you're a paparazzi. God damn it, paparazzi. You're making me say it fucked up now. He says the word Nazi the same way. He says Nazi. The fuck?
Like mentally, it's not like anyone's born and they say, you know what I want to do for a living? Harass people. I don't think anybody does that.
Not when they're born, because when they're born, they're too busy shitting into a diaper. Some people have really self-serving motivations that they develop over years and years. Look in a fucking mirror if you can stand to see that Dorian Gray. You're a great example of that.
I think that it just comes naturally based on our own demented childhoods, our own messed up chemistry in our brain, or whatever disorders that we may have.
Yeah, you're a great example of that.
But the point I'm trying to convey to you guys is there's a lot of people on YouTube, there's a lot of people in the entertainment industry and so forth, where the only thing they can do to be successful is to talk about other people or to exploit other people.
Again, look in the fucking mirror.
They can't do anything themselves to get attention, to get views, anything.
I don't give a shit if I get attention for this content or not, and neither do any of the other video makers that I associate with. We do because other people want to listen to what we have to say. They enjoy it for whatever reason that they enjoy it. It's not my goal in life to be just, hey, look at me, I'm Keemstar. You know, if you're talking specifically about people like that, then sure, you have a point. But people like that are well aware of what they are and they don't give a fuck. He knows that he's just a drama-exploiting douche who doesn't give a fuck about anything besides his bottom line, which is money at the end of the day. So even if you wanted to make a point to people like him, it's not really going to work because they're fully aware of what they are and they just don't care. So what's the point of this fucking video?
And when you see this happen, when they start to collect donations or sell shirts or whatever, when they're
Yeah, God forbid when something starts gaining traction for a person, they don't just try to make a little bit of money about it, doing it. Maybe people want to give them money of their own volition. Maybe they don't want to rip off the IRS the way you did and wind up in hundreds of thousands of dollars of tax debt and then create a little money laundering operation on the side because they don't like breaking the law. They sell a t-shirt. Who gives a shit? They sell a fucking t-shirt. Who gives a shit? You sell stupid merch too.
trying to build their own image on the back or the shoulder of someone else. That is who they are. That is all they can do.
Are you trying to insinuate that content makers who make videos to you are trying to build a career on you, and that's it? That's the only thing that they have going for them? Either make the argument or don't. Just don't dance around it like this, because first, the argument itself is absurd. No one is doing that. If you are a heavy focus on their channel, you're going to just take that in and of itself and ignore the fact that you're not the only focus. I do talk about other things here too. I do other things here. Many other content makers do as well. This is the biggest deflection from accountability and responsibility that you've put out yet. It's pathetic and embarrassing.
And they're just trying to survive. They're desperately trying to survive.
Not desperately.
Just like bootleg DVD salesmen. Just like human traffickers. Just like...
Too easy.
Door-to-door salesmen, just like candy.
Who the fuck does door-to-door salesman shit anymore besides people that want to have their kids get that Boy Scouts door-to-door cookie sales shit, or Girl Scouts, or do they even do that shit anymore? Do people actually do door-to-door sales anymore? It's not 1950.
The ice cream truck men. We all have jobs, and some of them are legal, some of them are not. It's unfortunate that we all can't find...
Who has illegal employment besides undocumented citizens and, people like yourself that are pedophiles that use their online income as sort of a vehicle to do illegal things? What is the point of this fucking video?
A respectable thing to do for a living, but maybe that wouldn't make the world very interesting if we were all decent.
Why? Why wouldn't the world be interesting if everything was decent? Why wouldn't it be interesting if it was just a nice place to live in? Is the only thing to you that makes the world interesting chaos, suffering, and strife? You subtly become an even bigger edgelord every time you make statements like that. Because it just goes to show everyone who's listening and actually paying attention to what it is you're saying how nihilistic of a worldview it is that you have.
Um, and I know there's an illusion right now that I'm trying to say I'm decent. Well, I'm respectable. I don't do this.
You are, but you won't admit it, so you're going to probably make some statement that says you're not saying that just to save face. No one actually believes that you don't look at yourself like you're some kind of second coming of Jesus Christ and the most benevolent human being that's ever walked the face of this earth. Your ego is too big to allow for anything other than that.
I have been one of these people where
Have been and are two different things.
I've obsessed over other human beings. I've made videos where, like, I talk about someone's eating disorder constantly.
Yeah, to the point you start making it worse.
You know? So I get it.
And, like, you don't even feel bad about doing it either. Like, this false modesty is just so bullshit. And it's kind of disgusting, false modesty, too. Because you would not leave that poor fucking girl alone. Ever. People, like, your entire audience were telling you, shut the fuck up. Leave this poor girl alone. All you're doing is exploiting what the fuck's going on with her for views. And in a way, you know, you could try to say that's not what you were doing. By saying what you've now just said, you kind of in a roundabout way proved what we already knew, that that's exactly what you were doing. So neat. You know, it takes more than just saying, yeah, I'm a shitty person. Deal with it. Whatever. I'm not a shitty person now. To get people to believe or even entrust the idea that you're trying to become a better person, that you're actually trying to change. You always have these stupid fucking epiphany moments that mean nothing. You get yourself dug in too deep like an Alabama tick with bullshit and then try to turn it around in some kayfabed fucking fake ass nonsense where you're like, look guys, I'm turning a new leaf and I'm doing better now. Only to just go right back to square fucking one. Sometimes not even days later, but hours later. It's just it's a vicious cycle. You have such a savage nature. This is why nobody can believe anything from you.
In a way. But at some point, you gotta look at yourself in the mirror and you say, I am a loser. And
yeah, but I do that constantly, so I don't know. It kind of would be just redundant at this point to do it even more.
What I'm doing is not making me happy. If you go look in the mirror and you admit that you're a loser.
I don't fucking make content about you, nor does anybody else, to make themselves happy. We do it because we want to do it. You know, it's not joyful to sit here and listen to some fucking man-child ramble about his arrogant self-importance that's supposed to be not self-importance because it's glazed with false modesty. It doesn't make me happy to just sit down and listen to this. It makes me feel disgusted that there are so many people like you parasitically attached to our species and infecting this world with their egomania. It's not something that's pleasing to me.
And you admit that what you're doing is not good for yourself. It's not good for others. You can't feel proud of your work.
I feel proud of my work because it's gotten your fan base to shrink significantly. It's gotten people to understand en masse what it is you are, because you're not the only person in the world like yourself. You're a disgusting, vile predator. It's helped people understand that people like you come in a variety of shapes and forms, standings in life, walks in life. But at the end of the day, they're self-serving pieces of shit that want the same goal. That just conquest and domination over another person's emotions simply to balance out the tumultuous, turbulent nature of their own. They want to control somebody else because they can't control elements of their own life. And that's not how people deserve to be treated. They don't deserve to be just somebody else's emotional punching bag. So, whatever, fuck you. I resent and reject this statement that I need to be guilt-tripped into feeling bad because I do what I do, what I'm doing right now, because it's hurting your precious fetus-like feelings. Fuck you. Grow a sense of accountability and responsibility.
I mean, maybe that's a good step in a positive direction. Or
maybe not looking like a gaunt heroin addict would be a better one for you.
we could go on thinking that any attention is positive attention.
You know, Pete Townsend from The Who used to think that until pedo accusations started knocking on his doorstep as well. So, sure, the statement, any press is good press, sounds neat. The reality of it, kind of fucking bleak. Certain things get a stigma of notoriety that follow you forever that you really don't want. You ought to know that.
Any money is good money. Because, reality check.
So do you really want to admit here again subtly that you don't give a fuck what you did to that girl? Hey, it's good money, whatever. Fuck your anorexia or whatever it is that you have. I just wanted to make money on the back end of it. So whatever. You just got done saying you were a fucking moral guy who's trying to make some decent changes and, you know, he's got this fake fucking moral superior, false modest, positive attitude, and then you just fucking nuked it into a million pieces by saying what you just said.
Babies get abandoned. People get randomly infected with numerous bacteria or diseases.
Yeah, I'm getting dumb fuck disease right now the longer I watch this.
One day, you just drop dead from a brain aneurysm. So, whatever you're...
Okay, well, what does that have to do with anything that you just mentioned? What does that have to do with anything at all? Why don't you just address what it is people want you to address? Why do you have to make these long, drawn-out, meandering and dancing around the subject videos that objectively show everyone you are projecting your way around what you need to talk about? I swear.
Doing with your life, if you're living, you're winning, unfortunately. And to cast judgment for me to sit here and go, you know, I'm better than commentary channels or whatever,
that's all you've done for the last 5 minutes.
It's kind of nonsensical because there are a million, billion, trillion, not trillion, billion people better than me.
Yeah, like the majority of the human race that isn't you. Okay? I bet there were Nazis that had actually more efficient moral compasses and ethical compasses than you. As bold of a statement that is.
So, I think it's important to be wary of people who point fingers, because a lot of times it's projecting. A lot of times, not all the time. A lot of times it's projecting. And it's interesting how everybody wants to point over there, but nobody wants to point right here.
I'm not the one that's using their YouTube audience as a stable for girls fresh out of fucking high school to potentially fuck. I'm not the one that's getting investigated by the FBI for possession and fucking transmission of child pornography. You want to know who fucking is? You want to do a finger point? You want to know who's doing that? You stupid fucking idiot. You can literally take every single fucking thing that you've said and flip it around on yourself, and it actually becomes a lot more valid. Why would I feel guilty about the fact I'm making the kind of content that I'm making at this very moment when it's directed at that kind of a person? The kind of person that said, fuck it, any money is good money, getting it by any means necessary, even if it's the exploitation of somebody else's medical shortcomings, is fine. The kind of person that said, fuck it. All these girls are just dumb, insecure whores that want to fuck daddy because he's got a lot of money. So let me be that fucking sugar daddy. Fuck you. Jesus. I don't want to live in a fucking headspace of somebody that wants to think that's a valid fucking argument. That, yeah, you know, I've done bad things, but at least I'm not a commentary channel. I'm a fucking groomer, but at least I'm not a commentary channel. These people hurt my feelings. Huh, the joke's on them because I don't have any.
Are you a better or worse person for not reflecting on your...
I'm a better person comparatively from you because I don't do any of the sick shit you do. I don't force my spouse to be bisexual. I don't force them to go and groom fucking young girls to go and be in our household to fuck because the marriage isn't working out the way you fucking do. Jesus.
own persona for not pointing out your own flaws? Who cares? Because nothing matters, right? We exist, big deal.
You know, a lot of people compare this guy to like David Koresh, especially Chris Hansen. I think, and I've said this in a stream before, he's more like Charles Manson only in the fact that he can say so much that says so little. And actually make it sound somewhat interesting if you're not really paying any attention to it. Once you pay attention to it, you actually realize how full of shit every single fucking syllable of it is, and that it's just a bunch of word salad with no inherent meaning whatsoever that contradicts itself infinitely on a goddamn Mobius strip like loop.
We are evolved organisms. We were originally like little squiggly circle dots.
You're a devolved organism.
And now we're these things that think we're so freaking smart, but we can't figure out one religion.
We're on religion now. Okay, so what the fuck are you besides something that went through billions of years of evolution to become a self-serving, egomaniacal fuckwit coomer?
We can't figure out what is actually the basis of our universe definitively. Most of it is hypothesis.
So what? Who gives a fuck? What, are you going to join Morg's cult now? What does this have to do with fucking anything you said previous to this? Nothing.
Or the theory.
And what is it with weirdos like this wanting to hive mind and homogenize society anyway? That's another interesting proclivity among these fucking idiots. You know? They can't deal with diversity in the world in any sense. In any sense at all. It's like, unless the world works within the framework of the box that they can't think outside of, you know, they try to do everything they can to put it inside that box. Even if it's by, like, brutal means. It's like, by any means necessary, the world has to work the way I personally perceive it to work. Otherwise, you know, it's not good enough for everybody else, even though it is good enough for everybody else. Just because I can't see it in that perspective means I have to change it to my personal perspective. It's fucking weird. It's like every one of these assholes do it.
If you want to make a living eating crap, if you want to make a living running around flashing people, if you want to make a living doing whatever you feel, everyone pointing a finger and being hateful towards you.
You wanted to make a living doing YouTube videos, which is fine in and of itself. You then took the platform that allowed you to accomplish that and abused it from just that usage. You used it as a vehicle to accomplish something disgusting behind the scenes. Nobody right now is taking you to task specifically for your desire to make a living off making video content, even though your ability to do so sucks.
They have their own problems. And
you don't?
While I don't really agree with karma, I don't really think it exists per se.
You come from a family of lunatic fucking New Agers, and you think that fucking tarot readings and shit are like spirit guides, like fucking telling you the fate of other people because your loony mom said so. Okay? Now look, a lot of people, they're spiritualists. A lot of people, they're into occult things. I'm not even going to put people down for being into these things, but there's a big difference between someone like that and someone like your mother whose videos about being into this, if you understand how to really analyze them, were her trying to deal with a severe mental illness without having to admit that it was a mental illness. Your mom is schizophrenia, quite obviously. She did all kinds of fucked up things to you all throughout your entire life. You're going to sit here and tell me that you don't believe in karma while having been raised in the household and then believing the ramblings of somebody who tries to use their notions of spirituality that aren't definitively provable in any real sense whatsoever, also as a means to treat severe mental illness. I can't take anything you say at that point because you're going to take magical thinking and apply it to reality. And you're so dumb you don't even understand what the concept of magical thinking is unless you go to the fucking Google dictionary and pull up the definition of it, because I've just boiled the fucking water on your brain right now like a cup noodle. Karma, my aching ass. All the loony shit that you would put out there about like being able to see ghosts and fucking shit with your mind. You fucking weirdo. Trying to create your own culty religion. And it's karma you don't believe in. No. And what I find interesting in and of itself about people that say stupid shit like that, karma may not be an actual material force. It may not be an actual thing in the tangible sense. But what these people are really saying is, I don't believe in traditional morality, and I don't believe in traditional ethics, and I don't want to have to hold myself accountable to any reasonable moral or ethical standard. I don't want to have to be held accountable for treating people like shit. But at the same time, I don't want to myself be treated like shit. I want the world to cater to me. It's wonderful.
I feel like we're all suffering. And so we're all paying for our sins every day.
Profound.
You can wish horrible things on people, but life is a horrible thing in many, many ways.
Okay, do you plan on doing something about that, or are you just going to keep tipping your fedora?
So we all got our karma. And
so, bad people exist, and people get hurt and used all the time, so you should just deal with it. You should be okay with it. Whatever. You know, you got fucked over by me? Well, life is shit. Deal with it. The world was mean to me, so I need to be mean to other people, and I don't have to be responsible for the things that I do or feel accountable for the things that I do. Because life sucks for everybody. We should just let all the criminals out of prison because life was hard to them and they're a byproduct of environment. You know? Deal with it. You can't understand their suffering. It's okay for them to rape and hurt people, murder people, sell people's children poison like drugs and shit. Yeah, fucking what the hell?
it just makes sense.
To maybe you, but that doesn't make sense to other people for good reason.
To be self-aware and realize that if you don't want to continue to feel the horrors of life, then maybe you shouldn't participate in those horrors.
Haters, you should kill yourselves for making videos about me because you don't understand my personal suffering. You should disengage from this life game that we're all playing because your participation in it hurt my sensitive fucking fifis. But I'm just gonna say it in all drawn out terms like that because I'm too big of a pussy to actually say what I mean and say, I don't like your videos about me and you should kill yourself for making them. Because that's in a roundabout way what the fuck he was trying to say. There's no other way you can take that. There's no other way that can be understood.
It's the golden rule.
Kill yourself for making fun of people? What kind of fucking golden rule is that?
A lot of people forget the golden rule.
He who has the gold makes the rules.
But if you don't want people to sadistically laugh at you,
then maybe you shouldn't be Onion Boy.
To humiliate you, it starts with you.
Nobody's sadistically laughing at my content. They laugh with it because it's easy to buffoon on a dumb motherfucker like yourself who thinks bullshit like this is some profound statement. Who thinks this is some profound thinking. You're so full of yourself that you have no reference to how this sounds to people that aren't absolutely fucking morons. That aren't completely idiotic. People laugh at you because you get dressed up like some fucking heroin selling fucking drug dealer, idiot fucker that you look like right here, and get in front of a camera thinking you look all cool and shit, and then just ramble off about this shit while you're losing your fucking hair. Your beard is almost entirely fucking gray in your mid-30s, mostly from stress, I would guess. You're being investigated by the FBI and Chris Hansen for child grooming, predation, and enticement, and possession and transmission of child pornography. It's like, how in the fuck can you ever at that point possibly put yourself in a better spotlight while at the same time you're involved in all that, do everything you can to dance around those issues, not address them directly, and just keep running away from it like a big fat fucking pussy?
Everyone else is just a different version of you, born into a different configuration. They got different brain chemistry.
What? What a solipsistic way to look at the world. So you're okay. So you're what, saying that you really are the center of the universe in your own mind? Everything around you is just a giant projection from your personal experience. What a way to look at the world, with your head completely inside of your ass.
They got a different life, but they're your body. They're their human body.
Yeah, human beings have the same anatomy as one another, within their gender, of course.
Most people probably want to be able to tell the difference between you from the neck down.
If they're blind.
In many instances. So maybe it's time we stop thinking of each other as separate people.
That way of looking at human beings, especially in a collective sense, is disturbing. It is disconnected. It is detached. It is dissociative. It is another reminder that you need severe amounts of help. That basically says you don't believe that people have individual agency or autonomy, that they're not unique from one another. They're just this collective mass of people that are just obstacles in your way that should cater to you because they don't have value to you. They don't have feelings to you. They don't have emotions. They're just things that are in your way, that annoy you by being in your way. Your mom looks at people exactly the same way, too. I'm starting to wonder if this emotional disconnection is some kind of psychological proclivity in your family. It is some kind of like thing that's just being passed down, one after the other, after the other, after the other. And it makes me worry for your damn kids, because hopefully they didn't get it from you either.
And rather look at each other as separate circumstances. What if you were born?
So a person is nothing more than the circumstance of their being. They in and of themselves are nothing. They're purely just a vehicle for circumstance.
With BPD. What if you were born into an abusive household?
I was. That doesn't mean that that is the entirety of my being. You are the sum of what you've done with your life. You're the sum of a person that does not give a fuck about his treatment of other people, does not give a fuck about improving himself in any way, shape, or form other than just for the camera, because you only want to be perceived as how you put yourself out there. You basically are the sum of your self-created facade. At that point, what right do you have to judge anyone else? None. I didn't ask to be born with BPD, nor did anyone who has it. Not only that, I don't think you're really born all the time with BPD. In my personal opinion, having it was more a side effect of circumstance. It was a side effect of the treatment that I had to deal with throughout my life. More like a defense mechanism. That's how a lot of these kind of conditions, I feel, truly come about in the human psyche, really. I mean, you might have the genetic disposition to have a higher chance of getting it than people on average, neurotypicals on average, but sometimes it can be, stimulus that's forcibly injected into your experience forcibly injected into your state of being for years and years in your life that really just push it out of you more. So, it's kind of fucking rich for somebody like yourself to put people down about things that they can't control on your gigantic moral high horse there, as if that somehow makes you any better.
Would you wind up making a tabloid? Would you wind up being a paparazzi?
Paparazzi? What's a paparazzi? Paparazzi! He's gonna make a copy. Yeah, what the fuck?
The biggest problem with human beings is that when we point fingers at other people, we don't realize that in a big way we're just pointing a finger at someone who's been pinned down and had a flashlight shine in their face.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, what is this victimizing shit? People aren't doing the content on you they're doing for no reason other than to do it. This is so fucking brain dead. You're making Homer Simpson right now look like a fucking galaxy-brained 5,000 IQ intellectual right now.
If you were pinned down and had a flashlight shine in your face, I'm fairly certain.
If you were discovered to have been doing terrible things in behind the scenes of your life, and they got exposed, you wouldn't feel great. You should be allowed to do those horrible things to other people.
That's basically what you're saying.
Many similar flaws would pop up, just like that other person.
I have plenty of my own flaws, but none of them involve child grooming.
Like a bunch of hypocrites laughing at each other.
The kind of hypocrite that would make a video that I've just responded to, being stuck in the middle of the things that you're stuck in the middle of. Like, this is honestly, like, painful to watch. These videos are, really, because for one, I gotta look at this fucking thing. Two, it's like, when you're not so disconnected from reality that you can understand the bullshit from just him trying to pull people's leg, it makes you wonder, like, what it feels like to be in that fucking headspace. And that's not a headspace you want to try and understand to be in.
Essentially. That's what's so disturbingly hilarious about the world.
Yeah, there are people like you who try to put themselves outside of the things that they do to other people to take the heat off feeling bad about these things because they're a big bunch of dishonest fuckheads who can't feel guilt because it gets to them too much. They want to do whatever the hell they want to other people, and they want to be entitled to get away with it. And they can't even understand or explain why they feel that way. They just want to feel that way. They want to get that hard dick rush off treating somebody else like shit. Because they're just malevolent, really. And you're one of those people. And here you are putting yourself on a high horse above other people and saying that being exposed and called out for that kind of behavior is paparazzi tabloid fucking nonsense. Well, you know what? No, it's a little bit beyond that when you've had a pattern of behavior that stretches back a fucking decade. Harassment to other people that stretches back a fucking decade that you want to make just a footnote. Because you think that if you do that, it'll just go away. Sorry, no.
You think things are so bad about other people because everyone's focused on them.
You think that people don't introspect. You think they don't go and take a good look in the mirror, as you say, because they can actually stand to see their own visage in the mirror because it doesn't look like a horrific mummified corpse that's been fucking unwrapped from like the Egyptian tombs or some shit, and go, you know what? I'm sick and tired of the person that I've been for all these years because of what that version of myself has done to others, and don't take a step forward from that day to go be a better person. Get the fuck out of here. Just because you can't do that doesn't mean other people can't. You are applying your own personal experience to a collective, especially one that does not have to deal with being afflicted with what it is you're afflicted with mentally. You literally cannot rationalize outside of your own personal experience. And here you are trying to say that an argument that would require you to do so. It's hurting my fucking head.
But what happens when someone focuses on you? You don't really realize you have the flaws you do.
I realize I have tons and tons of flaws, and I make no mistake about them.
Until it goes investigated. When people really take a close look.
Is that a veiled threat? Are you threatening people now?
I'm gonna dig through your dirty laundry. Did you know that this guy was addicted to heroin for like a fucking decade? Yeah, he's a bad person. You don't need to care about the fact that he's been clean for 8 years. But it was the fact that he did it all. I had never addicted to heroin, even though I look like fucking this. Even though I'm living in one of the largest fucking opiate addiction pandemic states in the entire country. You know? Did you know this guy has emotional problems? Did you know this guy is born with mental illnesses that he didn't ask to be born with? That makes him a bad person. I'm perfect. I'm fucking perfect. You gonna forget about all my problems now?
And then suddenly all the blackheads and pimples you never knew existed.
How can a person live their life and understand they've done bad things to other people that they don't want out there in the open, live their life unaware of those things at the same time?
Boom. There they are.
Okay, so people shouldn't say things about a pederastic child groomer because they've done bad things themselves. So we should all just live in fear about saying anything about anyone because, rat out culture or some shit. Were you born in North Korea? Where that shit is like constantly going on? It's an interesting motif, really, because that's exactly what your Discord is like. So that was a fucking mess. That was a mess. Headache-inducing mess. Ridiculous, jumbled, stupid-ass fucking mess. What was the point of making this? What was the point in saying anything that you said? Because it is only relatable to people like yourself. It's only for people like yourself. Just deflecting and projecting the blame onto other things that you can't take yourself. It's like, well, I've done terrible things. Well, what about you? Yeah, I've done really terrible things in my life, but none of them involved the transmission of child pornography. None of them involved child grooming or violating the Mann Act or fucking ripping off their taxes or anything like that. So shut the fuck up with this deflection shit. Address what you need to address. Or shut your fucking mouth. What a nonsensical pile of shit this was.